We are live. Welcome to the Fit Family Lifestyle Podcast. This is episode number 10, and we're here in Player One Production Studios, deep in the secret bunker in the New Mexico desert, hidden. Wanted to give a shout out to my man Austin from Player One Productions for putting this operation on. And anyone out there looking for some photography, looking to shoot a commercial, looking to have some crazy drone follow you around while you do cool stuff, hit him up. He's your guy. Player One Productions, Austin. Link in the description. As always, we want to mention we are EPN sponsored athletes. So if you're looking for supplements, if you're looking for protein powder, if you're looking for BCAAs, if you're looking for pre-workout, non-stim pre-workout, link in the description for 10% off on any EPN supplements. And then lastly, we just recently partnered with Bfit Amazing activewear. So really high quality, good, looks good. Activewear. They have stuff for men and women. Use the special code use code CaseyDark at checkout and use the link in the description and you can get 30% off your entire order. So with all that said, I'd like to introduce our special guest. This is Becky Stetson. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, it's nice to be here. I'm really excited.
Awesome. So remind me, how did I just find you on Facebook? Were you just somebody that I messaged on Facebook?
I found your site on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I just somehow came across it, and you were saying about the 42-day detox and
Mm-hmm.
how it was free and stuff like that. And then we just kind of we got on a call and started talking, and it just rolled from there.
Right. And so we've been working together for, I think, since April, right? So it's been 4 months?
Yes.
Right. And so where were you at 4 months ago versus where you are now?
Well, 4 months ago, I was a lot heavier. I didn't have the energy. My joints hurt. I just felt blah all the time.
Blah.
And
okay.
Yes,
good way to put it. Yeah.
It was, yeah. And now, especially after doing that 42-day detox, it was just amazing to see that, that I wasn't so inflamed. My joints weren't hurting. I was having more energy, and just to realize that the food I was eating was affecting my body the way that it was. I thought I was eating well. I thought, I started eating well, like I was eating salads and this and that. And I didn't realize that, you need to eat so much protein and stuff. And now I'm down 27 pounds. I went through so many, my belt, I got to go buy a new belt for work. So
yes, that's awesome. I love hearing that.
I am so excited. Cause when I started with my belt, I was like on the second hole, and now I'm down to I think I'm down like about 5 or 6, belt sizes down. So I feel great.
That's amazing. Well, what I love about it is, I always worry because the 42-day detox isn't some gimmick. It's not just some fancy meal plan. It actually works. It's actually based on real science of the low FODMAP, diet medicinal food plan. And it really is meant to detox your body of all the inflammatory foods that cause the bloating and the water weight and the gas. And what I was really impressed with you is you took it seriously. Like, you sent me pictures of the chicken and the strawberries and the coconut. Like, you really went after it 100%. And I think it was maybe even like 2 or 3 weeks in, and you were following it to a T, and you were already reporting like feeling more energy, not feeling bloated. You had already lost a significant amount of weight. And so, when you first, when I first kind of like shared that with you, were you skeptical at all? Were you like, is this going to be another one of those like, weight loss things that I click on Facebook and then it doesn't do anything?
what I liked about it was you were like, you don't have to do it. The 42-day detox is free, and then when you talked to me about your plan, I guess every time I went and I thought about getting a coach or a fitness coach is trying to fit that into my budget,
Mm-hmm.
and with you, it was, I tightened my belt some, but it, it really works and it is totally 100% worth it.
That's
You know,
awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I was working out, going to the gym, 4 days a week, just trying to work out and doing this and that. And I saw no results. And just with the changing of, I guess, my habits with the eating and knowing that how much of what I should eat, especially the protein, I didn't realize that protein took so long and it made your body work harder to
Mm-hmm.
digest. I
Mm-hmm.
never really knew that. Um, and the food's really good. That's one thing, like, people look at me weird. Like, I would take that chicken and strawberries to work and I'd heat it up. And they're like, look at me. I'm like, don't knock until you try it because it is
Yeah.
so good.
Everyone that I've talked to, they think it's weird. They're like, wait a minute, you're having chicken for breakfast? And you're like,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's amazing. It's so
it
good. And
is.
then, one of the things that I really loved when you started is you would start, talking about, your work schedule and
Mm-hmm.
working like a 16-hour shift and then still coming in and fit that workout. So what do you do? Well, remind me what's your job again?
I'm I'm a correctional officer.
Right.
I work at a state prison here in Pennsylvania. And my work schedule is usually 6 to 2, but with nobody wanting to work anymore,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a lot of, we get mandated a lot, or I work overtime. So I work like a 6 to 2 and then a 2 to 10. So I work from 6 in the morning till 10 at night. But I also get up at 3:15 and between 3:10 and 3:15 in the morning to get ready,
Mm-hmm.
make my carpool, because it's like a 45-minute ride to where I work.
So on top
So
of the shift that you work, you're also driving 45
yes,
minutes. Wow.
yes,
And then, so being a correctional officer, what I imagine that there's a component to that job where you have to stay physically fit. You have to, be, to some degree healthy and able to move and handle situations. Am I right?
yes, yes. And besides, like with work, it is something that you should have, because if you do need to respond to something, you might have to go from point A to point B, and you can't really be that tired out by the time you get to point B, because you won't be able to do anything to help, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
staff member or breaking up two inmates. So yeah, to be physically fit is a great component for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are there quite a few people that aren't? Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, and that's should be a barrier to entry. Like when people are hired for that position, I got to imagine that they're looking at candidates like, what are the requirements in terms of physicality?
When I first started, and I've been there 18 years now,
Wow, 18 years. That's
there was a physical fitness requirement. Like, you had to do so many sit-ups, you had to do a stamina test, all this stuff on top of an actual computer test you had to take beforehand,
mm-hmm.
and pass, a psychological test and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gotten rid of most of that. That's how bad getting
What?
people to work are. Yes. Yes.
And so part of what they've gotten rid of is the physical stuff too. So they've lowered the standards for somebody who can come in.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, I've never worked in corrections per se. I did for 20 years. I was in mental health, and I worked with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, children and adolescents with behavioral and emotional problems, and that was a job that you were better suited for if you were physically fit because you're working with kids, and so you're taking them on hikes and walks and playing games with them and just being active
Mm-hmm.
with them. You were a better employee if you were healthy and fit and could keep up. But also,
Exactly.
part of that job was there were times where they would get very emotionally dysregulated and there was violence and you had to
Mm-hmm.
intervene. as one of
Yes.
the adult caregivers, and I was the director of a facility, and so I was responsible for hiring, and I would be very straight with people that came in and that were not, I could tell that, I don't want to say that they were just fat and out of shape, but I could tell that they just weren't going to be able. I mean, if they were getting winded walking from their car to the building, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to be able to, if a kid runs out and they're, going towards the street where there's traffic, how are you going to be able to pursue them? Like,
Exactly.
that is part, but we were told that we couldn't. They called it discrimination if we were,
Mm-hmm.
and
And I
I
think
was
that's
like,
the part of where it's kind of went.
yeah. Well, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm thinking of the safety of the children. I want to hire
Mm-hmm.
somebody who I know can keep the kids safe. And if they're
Yes.
making a poor decision or running out into traffic or whatever they're doing, I need somebody who can respond quickly and effectively. And this is something that we talked about on one of our other podcasts, but that is something that to a big degree has fallen by the wayside, where it's not a requirement to
Mm-hmm.
be in physical condition, and I
Exactly.
believe it should be. I think
Yes.
there are enough jobs in this world that require you to sit at a desk and not worry that you can get one of those jobs, but one of these jobs where other human beings' lives and well-being is at stake, the people that are being hired to work with them should have to some degree a level of capability
Mm-hmm.
physically to manage that. So, well, kudos
Yes.
to you said 18 years, right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. So what's I mean, obviously without saying names, what's
Mm-hmm.
some of the craziest things that you've had to deal with over those 18 years? I'm sure you've seen some stuff.
Oh, there's been a lot of stuff. And the facility I'm at, we take a lot where because they've kind of went through the mental health thing,
Mhm.
and they've made certain jails mental health kind of units, and we
Mm.
are one of them. So you have anything from people making figurines out of feces
Mhm.
to we have one guy who keeps I don't know if it's because he wants pain medication or if he wants just um, you know attention, but we call him the nut cutter because he keeps on cutting that and to where the inside comes out.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that is a far cry for attention.
Yeah.
Oh man, God, I have so many crazy stories from my days working in the place, but one of which is there was a client that we had, and she actually swallowed a butter knife,
Mm.
like an entire butter knife. And what
Mm-hmm.
she did is the blade was metal, but the handle was plastic, and so she broke it. And she was helping wash dishes, and then she asked to use the restroom, and I guess she had slid it into her shoe, and then went to the
Mm-hmm.
restroom and swallowed it. And this is a issue of hers, like she had swallowed quarters and screws before, but this was
Yeah.
a actual butter knife. And she
Mm-hmm.
came out and she said, you need to take me to the hospital. And the staff that was working there was like, what are you talking about? Like, are you sick? What, did you break something? And she's like, no, I just swallowed a knife. So you need to take me to the hospital. Like, this was her way of getting out of being there.
Yeah.
And they were looking at her like, no, you didn't. And she's like, okay, well, I guess don't and get fired when I die because, I'm tired anyway. So they're like, they called me and they're like, so this girl's saying that she swallowed a butter knife. And I don't know. I was like, you need to take her because if she did, then we need to know.
Yeah.
And if she didn't, then better safe than sorry. Sure enough, I
Exactly.
remember showing up at the hospital and they were doing the x-rays and it looked like, I don't know, like a game of Operation or something where they they show the X-ray and there's like a screw and a quarter and a butter knife. So
Oh, geez.
so Austin's handing me this thing and I'm not sure what this is, but he's asking me to ask you if you've ever seen one of these. Can you see this?
Um. Yeah. kind of, sort of.
It looks to me like a
Is it a
box
box made out of
made
cards?
out of playing
Yeah.
cards. What
Yep.
is happening here? Oh, it is a box made out of playing cards.
Uh-huh.
Look at this. I don't know why he's
Yep.
handing me this.
Well, because when you're inside, you find creative ways to do things and make things, or even cook things. Like our facility, we don't have any like microwaves. We don't let them have hot plates or anything. So what they do is they take they have like plastic tubs they can get. They'll fill
Mm-hmm.
it. They'll put a bag in there, fill it with water, and then put their food in a bag inside there, and then they'll take an extension cord, take the one end off, put like nail clippers on it. It's called what we call a stinger, and they put it in there to boil the water.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that is wild.
But yeah,
So,
we have a lot of like really artistic
so
people
did
that
they make did they
they
make
come up with.
pens like this? A pen out of tape,
Oh yeah.
paper mache pen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Oh, you can make that. There's guys that make figurines out of toilet paper. You just kind of wet it up. It's almost like paper mache.
Oh, that's wild. You got to get
We had
real
one
creative
guy.
then.
He used parts of e-cigs. He made a truck out of like uh, like boxes and stuff, like boxes and cardboard and stuff. And he used the e-cig, and he used the light. There's like a little light inside. You know, when they would puff on it,
Mm-hmm.
he used that to do the lights on it, like the headlights and taillights and stuff. Hooked
That's
it up to like
crazy.
little AA
So
batteries.
the
Yeah.
little LED light that lights up on the e-cigarette, that he made
Mm-hmm.
that so it was like the tail lights or the front lights of the
Yeah.
car.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty genius. I guess
Yeah.
when you have that much time on your hands, you got to get pretty
You can figure a
creative.
lot of things out.
Wow. That's interesting. That's crazy. Um so how long have you been in Pennsylvania?
Well, I was born in Ohio, but I'm in
In Ohio.
Pennsylvania most of
Okay.
my life. I did leave right after school because I went into the Navy,
Oh, okay.
and then I was stationed over in Italy for about 4 years.
Wow, in Italy. That's cool.
Yes, it
That's
was
cool. Well,
beautiful. I
thank you for
loved it.
your service. I had no idea
Hmm.
you were in the Navy. How long were you in the service?
I did 4 years active and 2 years inactive, so total of six. I probably would have stayed in if I didn't have gotten married. But like when you get
Mm-hmm.
married in there, if you're both in a service, it's really hard to get married. Like when you get a duty station
Mm-hmm.
to get stationed together. So my
Yeah.
time was up first. So I got out, and well, it didn't work out too well.
Mm.
But hey, things happen.
Things happen. Yeah. So, and then how long have you been out? Like how long have you
I got out in 99.
in 99? Okay.
Mhm.
So it's been a good 24 years.
Yeah.
24 years. Wow. And at what point in in your time being out did you start noticing that you were gaining weight, or at what point did you kind of find like, okay, I'm not happy with where I'm, because I know that when you're in the military, you
Mm-hmm.
part of that is staying fit. It's just not an option. You
Yes.
have to be
Yes. Yeah.
physically in shape.
Yep, you have a physical fitness test you do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got out and I got divorced, I did go through a deep depression to where I
Mm-hmm.
actually did lose a lot of weight because I lost my appetite
The
and stuff.
divorce diet, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But I did really well until I had my first child, and when I was pregnant with her, I gained a lot of weight. Like I could
Mm-hmm.
house almost a large pizza at a time because I was just so I felt so hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And like they always say, you got to eat for two. No, that's not right.
Right. Right.
So when I had my daughter, I still had a lot of baby weight. And I really did not lose much of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 years later, I had my son, gained more weight. Um, then after that, I did lose a little bit. Like I said, I tried Weight Watchers, I tried Beachbody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just joining like the YMCA and trying to plant fitness. But it just seemed because I didn't know like I didn't know like what I should do when I work out. Like, there's people that go to the gym like, oh, we're gonna do legs today, we're gonna do arms tomorrow, we're gonna do this, and I'm just like, okay, well, that doesn't work for me. I could go to the gym 3, 4 times a week and I still see no results.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I thought I was eating good,
Mm-hmm.
but and then I just really got depressed and uh tired of feeling the way I was feeling and looking the way I was looking. Because when I looked in the mirror, I just was not happy. And now when I look in the mirror, I'm excited because things I haven't been able to wear for years, I can wear now.
Right. That's awesome. Well, and one of the things that makes sense to me now is like knowing that you were, ex-military. I was like, this lady, like any workout I give her, she just knocks it out and then says, "That was really great. I was sweating a lot. That's awesome." And you know, typically, there's not complaints about the workouts, but somebody will say, "Hey, that was a little too much," or "I'll have to do a lot more adjusted." But literally everything that I've given you, you've
Mm-hmm.
just taken it and done it. And now it makes sense because you have that conditioning, that discipline from years of service of like,
Mm-hmm.
you're told to do something. It's not something you
You do it.
question. You do it and you make it happen. But because you've taken that approach, it's actually worked for you. And so, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what's it like, finally doing something that you're, seeing every day, you're seeing results?
It's amazing. It really, really is. Um, I mean, there has been some times where I've done the workouts where there's some things where I'm just like, I couldn't finish as many reps or to the time limit that person did. But like you told me, don't overexhaust yourself.
Right.
So I try to keep that in mind. I'll take like a couple second break and get back into what I'm
Hmm.
doing. But, you know, if you don't keep at it, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
It's
Right. Consistency plus time equals results, right?
exactly.
Right. And so what has been your favorite thing? I mean, we've been working together for about 4 months. What has been like if there was one thing that is your favorite thing about the program, what would you say is your favorite thing, the thing you look forward to the most?
I really love the Marco Polo
Mhm.
because you get to hear everybody's, their day, their like, you have positive people on there just, and then that gives you the reinforcement that you can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And just getting on there and just saying something, or just when you get on there and give the tips and
Mhm.
tricks, or when you guys were on there and give like, like simple workouts, like, try doing this, try to work
Mhm.
out this way, your abs and this. You just give so many tips, and when you can visually see something, it just helps so much.
Right. That deciding to do that and make that part of the program was the biggest thing. Well, the other day I remember something is, it was Anna and I's anniversary, and we had made plans to go get tattoos. And I thought that I had everything squared away. I thought, like, okay, she'll be doing her tattoo. It's going to take maybe a couple hours. And so I'll have time to make these calls. And then I got Becky, and then I'll go get mine. Well, hers went really quick and mine went really quick too. I wasn't expecting it to go so quick. So I'm laying on the table and I'm like, "Hey baby, I gotta call Becky, but I'm kind of like, getting work done. Do you think would you mind?" And she was like, "Yeah, no problem. Awesome." Because I mean, she knows my whole
Mhm.
philosophy and everything that we do. I mean, she does this with me. So I definitely wanted to bring her in and let you meet her as well. So let's tag out and you can talk to Anna for a few minutes. Sound good?
All right, sounds
Awesome.
great.
All right. How's that sound, Austin? Down? Better? Down? All right. Technicalities there. Hey, Becky, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. It's nice to meet you kind of in person here, finally back
Mhm.
and forth instead of just short videos. But
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it was really interesting to hear a little bit about you. And we have some things in common. I'm a military brat, so I grew up in Europe.
Oh, there you
And
go.
so I kind of have a little bit of that same discipline and structure that you do. And then as a teacher, working with all kinds of different kiddos, you know, I'm the music teacher at my
Hmm.
school. I work with the whole school. So I think that we kind of connect on that too with working with people and such.
Yep. I always tell everybody I babysit all day.
Yeah,
Because I mean, you pretty much, I always tell them you kind of treat them like kids. You got to pick and choose your battles.
exactly. That's the truth. That's the truth. And with my job, when I was heavier, it was a lot more difficult because you have to have those children moving. And I know you're
Hmm.
walking around all the time, and I'm sure now that you've lost a bit of weight, that it's easier, that you're not winded, that you feel like you can go quicker. And that was something
Yeah.
that I've really noticed in the past few years in my journey, and it makes my job easier.
Yes, it definitely does. I mean, even in just everyday life, to be able to, get up and do something. When you get up in the morning, not be so tired, or like when you come home from work and you just, you sit down and you're like, I can't do anything. No, you come home and you just get straight into getting done what you need to get done. And,
Absolutely.
by the end of the day, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, oh crap, I still got a workout to do. Okay, let's get going.
Exactly. I tell Casey, you know, if I haven't closed those rings, I tell him, okay, I'm at 88% of my move goal. Let's swing dance. You know, let me kickbox. I try to get it done, and you know what? Sometimes I don't. Last night I was at 88% and I was exhausted, but I
Hmm.
hit the other rings and my other goals. And really, my biggest goal is to try to move some. So if I'm closing those rings, I mean, that's showing me that physically. But,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's a lot easier when you are in that great mental state of, you know, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm proud of you for persevering, even with overtime and everything. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. It's really like once you start and you start seeing results, it's almost very addictive to where you're telling yourself, you know what, this is working, I can do this. And it's not all that hard or all that difficult, because Casey gives you everything that you need,
Hmm.
you know the apps to download, so you can put your food in, so it'll tell you, what all your stuff is, what you have left, what you don't have left. And most people are, they're telling you, oh, you got to work out 5 to 6 days a week for this amount of time. And sometimes your life gets busy and you can't do that. And I'm like, three
Right.
days a week, I can do 3 days a week easy,
Yeah.
or do more if I have time or can do. But I'm just like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love how you said that you have that energy and just keep going, and you're able to do that. And earlier you were talking about depression and gaining weight from that, well, losing weight first, and then
Hmm.
and that kind of turning around on you. And for me, you know, working out has been my outlet, and I'm not depressed because I'm busy
Hmm.
and doing something and less anxious and have that release. And can you relate to that a
Yes.
little?
I can, because when you're done, you just feel like it's almost like if you do have that, the whether it's the depression or anxious or whatever, by the time you're done with that workout, you're just like, you feel great.
You do.
It's like it's all worked out of you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've asked Casey this a little bit because you're rocking it and you're a badass. So do you want harder videos? Because I've got them.
Well, we could try one or two and see how they go. I mean, I'm up for anything.
Okay. How do you feel about burpees?
Oh boy. I can do them, I guess.
Okay, we'll introduce them slowly.
I haven't done them in years.
You're right. Yeah. How are you doing with push-ups and stuff? I wasn't able to do any push-ups and now I can do them. It's amazing.
Push-ups, I'm still struggling with, to be honest with you.
Have you tried Casey's trick with the going all the way down that he showed on the video like
Mm-hmm.
last week?
No, I have not.
Okay, he'll
I
have
will
to,
have to try that.
yeah, he'll have to show that video again, and
Mm-hmm.
because it's a really effective way of doing a push-up and learning how to do a push-up without really doing a full push-up. So,
And strength. So what's really weird is I think with women, we tend to, even though like, having kids and stuff, you carry them around in your arms, you would think that your arms are like the strongest thing that you have. But for me, I always believe it's my legs.
mm-hmm.
But when it comes to, I used to be physically fit. Like when I was in the service, we do the sit-ups, the push-ups and all that neat stuff. I've always rocked out. I've always rocked out sit-ups. I could do, I would do the push-ups as many as I had to do, but like I was never the greatest at them, but I could do them.
Yeah,
And years go on, you kind of,
right. I'm way better at sit-ups too, definitely. But
hmm
another thing that I've been doing recently is some videos that add lighter weight but do arm exercises.
okay.
So you're not doing heavy weight,
hmm
but it's really good and effective still because it's that resistance training that Casey talks about.
Exactly. hmm And I love the resistance training. It makes you feel so much better by the time you're done. Just to work out and to feel those muscles.
Yeah, exactly. For me, the BCAAs keep it so that I'm able to keep going day to day. Like I don't get super sore. Do you use those at all?
No.
Do you get really sore from your workouts, or do you space them out
Um,
enough that it's good?
I know the one thing that I have gotten sore with is the one workout Casey gives me at the last workout I do is where you have an exercise ball and you're laying on the floor and you bring the ball up to meet your legs and you
Mm-hmm.
go back down. It's kind of like a big like scissor crunch.
Yeah.
Now those they kick my butt. I get them done. It takes me a little bit longer, but yeah, the next like day or two, my abs are like, yeah.
Yeah. I need to try that one because I've done tons of ab exercises and this sounds silly, but from singing, my abs are super strong already. But
Awesome.
then I've been, because before I was a teacher, I was an opera singer, so I still try to keep up with singing, but I've always had really strong abs, but not defined. And now I'm getting the
Gotcha.
definition that I want. But I've found that it's difficult to get that quote unquote six pack because,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know why exactly, but I think that it's a lot to do with. I lost my train of thought. Um, Casey, save me here. What does it have to do with? Yeah, I'm talking about strength training in my abs and how from singing my abs are already strong, but it's difficult for me to get the oh, that's why it was
There
because
you
I,
go.
I
You
don't
got it.
get, yeah, I don't get sore. So I'm
Okay.
not getting that definition. I'm not feeling that huge resistance that you're talking about. So I
hmm
need to do the exercise with the medicine ball that you've given her. Try that for my abs. The what ball?
It's either called a Bosu ball or
A
a
Bosu ball or a yoga ball. Okay. Awesome. Well, do you want to jump back on?
yeah. Jump back on.
All right. Well, it was so nice talking to you.
It was
And
great talking to you.
we will talk soon, and I'll see you on Marco Polo.
All right. Sounds great. I can't wait.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Do we have anyone chiming in? Is anyone coming on? Not yet. Okay.
You got watch it.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, let's make sure the mic is. That's how I normally set right here. Good. All right. Well, I'm so glad that you got to meet Anna. Like, I think you've been an inspiration for everybody, and obviously, you know, she's an inspiration with all the reels and stuff that she posts. But yeah, I definitely wanted you guys to meet and talk a little bit. I had a question for you when I was sitting out there, and now I forgot it. So you're down 27 pounds.
Yes.
And there it is. There it is. See, it came back.
Yeah.
Your kids and your family, what have they noticed? Because it's one thing when you feel your clothes fitting better, you start seeing results in the mirror, you obviously see results on the scale, but what has your family thought or said about, your journey?
My daughter, she was just like, "You're doing a great job, Mom. Pretty much just keep rocking it." My son has noticed. He's also been trying to cut weight. He's been, lifting. He does football. He's been lifting with their team all through the summer, at least 3 days a week, going into school lifting. And he's down about 20 pounds too. So he wants to lose some weight because he wants to gain the muscle, not the fat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so have there been any things that you've learned through this process that you've been able to share that are helping?
Yeah. I like, people will come up to me and are like, you look really good. Oh my God, you lost so much weight. I can see it in your face, What are you doing? And I told them, I'm working with a coach, and I try to tell them, I was like, one thing that I did not realize was that one of the goal things is eating enough protein, because, I thought eating salads, and eating the vegetables and stuff was a great thing. Well, you got to put that protein in there, and it's got to be a good lean protein. And I said, that's one of the things that, and I said, if I know I'm not going to get enough protein, or, in the morning, I said, I take a protein shake with me to work, and that's my breakfast, so.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's so much misinformation out there about what you should eat, and a lot of it doesn't coincide with the actual science, because the science isn't sexy. It doesn't sell. I mean, it's actual really simple stuff. It's if you eat less, if you eat more protein, if you get enough sleep, if you drink enough water, these are things that are going to help you lose weight. But that doesn't, sell the Beachbody on Demand program. That doesn't sell the fat burners that they try to sell you online, because it's not, marketable, because it's so simple. But that's what the real science says, is that, when you are getting enough sleep, when you're drinking enough water, and when you're eating enough protein, your body is functioning optimal.
Yes.
And so we're turning the body into a fat burning machine by doing simple things that we can do every day that don't cost anything and are actually pretty simple. So
yes. And it's like you said, it's not rocket science, because you just take what you eat, you put it into the app, and the app tells you everything there. Your macros, your calories. And I also tell people, it's okay, you got to figure out what your calories is, and then make sure you stay in a calorie deficit.
That's right. Yeah.
That's also another key.
So how was that for you when we first started? Because I know that there's a heavy, technology component, and I've noticed that a lot of my new clients that are coming in, there's varied levels of technical skill. Like, some people are really good on their phone or really good using apps, and other people are like, all I do on my phone is call people, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. How was that for you, adapting to using more technology to accomplish this?
Actually, I think it made it a lot easier, because you weren't trying to keep track of everything yourself, like writing it down and
Mm-hmm.
figuring everything out. You told them how much of what you ate, and it did it all for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it made it easy.
Yeah. And so how has the process of tracking your calories been for you?
It's been pretty easy. I mean, uh, like when I first started with you, I really didn't have to worry about anything because there was already a meal plan
Mm-hmm.
in progress. And then, after I was done with the detox, you gave me another meal plan that I could, go from and use. So, I mean, it's just, you get so many different varieties of food and recipes. And like, I never tried bok choy before in my life, and bok choy is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bok choy is really good if you cook it the right way, and yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, lots of different things. So, um, had counting calories been something that you ever did before prior to working with me?
No, not really.
No, and so what's something that has that you noticed doing that? Because I find that a lot of people that when they start doing that, they start to see some patterns, and they learn some things about themselves in terms of their eating habits. What's something that you realized?
I have realized, like, when I go shopping now or something and I'm looking at something, I tend to look at I'll turn it around and I look at the nutrition. I look at the FOBs. I look at the fat, the carbs, and, the protein.
Hmm.
And I've learned that a lot of stuff I've ate was so high in carbs. Just like one serving would have been like, with some things, would have been like half of my carbs that I do now, you know,
Right, right.
but it was processed food.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean one of the things that we know about the really highly processed foods is that they are typically more higher in carbohydrates,
Hmm.
and we just know that we digest them much faster, and they don't
Hmm.
stay in our system very long, and they rush through, which leaves us wanting more, which leaves us at
Yes.
a point where we want more, and how we easily get addicted to these foods that are highly processed. And it's not that we can't ever eat those things, it's just we need to know how they affect our system, right? Because
Yes.
if we're always eating that, then we're going to end up being in a calorie surplus because we're always going to want more, we're always going to go for more. So
Exactly.
awesome. Well, I have to say I'm so proud of the progress that you've made and how you've just taken the tools that I've given you and really just dug in and done the work, and you're getting results, and it's just so inspiring and amazing, and I was just thrilled to have you on tonight because I think that I want everybody to see that, if you take these tools and you apply them and you do the work, you're going to get the results and you're going to feel better. So I mean, I guess one thing I want to ask you is what's next? Where first of all, I mean, what do you see is one of your biggest obstacles coming up, and then secondly, like, what's next for Becky? Like, where do you really see your big goal being?
Um, I guess my hardest thing coming up, I think the hardest thing might be like holidays,
Mm-hmm.
coming up. But I know that I can work around those. Eating right and making sure that, um if I'm making a meal or if the meals are getting made here, that, I make stuff that, part of my family likes, and then I make stuff for me that's healthy for me that I like,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I see myself, I want to just I just want to get to the point where, you know, I don't know how to explain this, to where I already feel great about myself, but I want to go to the person that I believe that I should be: physically
Mm-hmm.
fit, mentally fit, And without your help, I would not be there. I would not be on my way there.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're working really hard, and we're gonna get you there. Come hell or high
Awesome.
water, we're gonna get you there. And you mentioned the holidays. I get excited about the holidays because there's so many things to learn about just our habits and our, how, things that we've grown up with and traditions and things that we end up struggling with. And so many people get derailed by the holidays, and it's a critical part of this journey, which is
Yes.
why with a lot of people, that's why I don't do like a 12-week program or a 10-week program, because we have to go through the course of a whole year at least, so that everything that comes up, everything from like a season change to then dealing with the holidays, how we handle things in the winter versus the summer. Because obviously when it's summer, it's easier to be outside, it's easier to get more activity in. But then the holidays themselves, mainly Christmas, especially in the West, that's just surrounded with just a culture of food and eating and treats and sugar and and if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight and you're on a fitness journey, that can be something that's very daunting. And I know a lot of people who, when they get to the holidays, it's like everything goes on pause. Fitness journey goes on pause. We'll see how bad things get and we'll pick up in January. And you can't do that. You have to navigate through that intelligently. But there is a way that you can use our process to still enjoy the holidays, to still enjoy some of those treats, to still not feel like you're limiting yourself, and still stay on this journey and still hit your goals, so that when you get to January, it's business as usual. You're not starting over. You're not like, okay, God, how bad did things get? How much holiday weight did I put on? No, you're on the same journey that you were on in June. It's just now December or January.
And I've done that. When we had my daughter's surprise birthday party, I made sure that I was in a calorie deficit all week. So by the time her party came around, I can enjoy a piece of that ice cream cake that I love as much as she does.
Yes. I was actually going to ask you about that, because I remember you talking to me about that on one of the calls. Like, okay, I have this party coming up and there's this ice cream cake and I love it and I want some of it. So how do we make this happen for me? And that's a critical part of it, is just planning for it and budgeting for it, just like you would budget for a vacation, right? You plan that out if it's something that you want, and then you don't have to deprive yourself, and it's not this situation where you're, cutting something out of your life that you enjoy and then, being miserable about it. But then it's also not a situation where you're binging on it and then feeling guilty and having this unhealthy relationship with food. You plan it out so that you can make it happen in moderation, and you're still on track. You're still on the wagon. Awesome. Awesome. So let's say you had a friend or a coworker or someone that you met, and they were noticing your results, and they were saying like, wow, you've lost weight, or you look great, or you're so fit, or what's your secret? What is a piece of advice that you would give to another lady who is, struggling, maybe how you were struggling, or even worse?
Well, I explained to him what I'm doing and how I work with you as a fitness coach, and how my the journey's been, I don't want to say easy, but it's a lot easier than I ever expected it to be. Because you do got to work at it, like you say. And I tell them, well, if you're really interested, I'm happy to, give them your information if you want me to, or do whatever. But I just tell them that, I only exercise. When I tell people that I only exercise 3 days a week, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, 3 days a week. And, I'm just watching everything, being more mindful about what I'm eating, what I'm doing, making sure that I am drinking more water, moving more, and I said, it's simple things, I said, a lot easier journey than I expected.
Right. Right. It's not complicated, and it really is. It really is the simple thing. And I think people do put a lot of emphasis on all the exercise, and I think some people have this misconception of oh man, if I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to be running, 10 miles 5 times a week, and and that's just not reality, because
No.
exercise only really accounts for 5% of the calories that we burn throughout a day. It's a very
Yeah.
minimal part. In fact, exercise isn't really about burning calories. Exercise is about just making sure the machine, our body, is well, is healthy, is
Yes.
functioning. It's like getting an oil change, right? It's making sure the machine is working at the maximum capacity that it can work at. It's what happens the other 23 and a half hours of the day. Right?
Yes.
It's what are you doing the rest of the day? And then, like you said, it's also about what are you putting in your body? What are you eating? And and I think I've talked to you about this, but I've talked about this on Marco Polo too, that eating should never be habitual. Like when someone say I need to get better eating habits, and I always stop that and I say no, eating is not a habit. It's not, it should never be a habit. It should never be just something that we habitually do. It should be a very deliberate, mindful process. This is fuel that you're putting in your body, and that's important. That means something.
Yes.
It affects your health. It affects your heart. It affects your blood sugar level. There's just so much. And if you're really going to treat your body as a temple and take care of your body, you got to be aware of what you're putting in it. And that's not to say that you should never eat anything that has sugar or that tastes good. That just means that it needs to be a mindful process. It needs to be a deliberate choice that we're making, and we need to know how the things that we're putting in our body affect our body, and what we need to do about that. So I'm super proud of you for just taking this journey by the horns and just really going 110%, 10 toes down, and doing the work. And I mean, you've gotten some amazing results, and we're so proud of you, and I look forward to seeing your full transformation. I mean, we're just scratching the surface of what you're going to accomplish, and it's gonna I think you are gonna inspire many other women and other people to really, dive in and take this leap and get on this journey. So I thank you for being here tonight, and I appreciate your time, and I look forward to keep working with you.
Definitely. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, Becky. Well, thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night.
All right. You got it.